I'm going to show you a great meatball recipe today, spicy meatballs using some fabulous fresh mince. This is really good for summertime on the barbecue or even in a pan during the colder days. This is really simple, you're going to love it. So we've got 500 grams of mince here, fresh mince, with some breadcrumbs, some chili, 1 egg. Just got to whisk that up really lightly, just to make our life a little bit easier when we mix it into the mince. And then garlic, we're just going to start to get a bit of punchy flavour into it. I'm just going to crush this up really easily. And then do a nice fine chop. Really good method here to chop up some garlic is to add a little bit of sea salt to it. And the coarseness of that salt really helps to break it down. A little bit of salt on there. Now if you like little bursts of garlic flavour in there, keep it a little bit coarse. And when you eat it, you'll find those little bits of garlic, when you crunch into them, you'll get this really strong, pungent flavour released into your mouth. It'll be really amazing. If you don't like it so much, chop it a bit finer. It'll be a little bit more spread throughout the meat, nice and even. Then we're going to get some nice fragrant herbs into there. We've got some parsley. We're going to get a bit of thyme in there as well. So a good little method with the parsley here is to bunch it up in your hand, nice and tight. And when you chop through, by keeping it nice and tight in your hand, you'll find it much easier to cut it nice and fine. Once again, it doesn't have to be this precise. You can keep it a little bit coarser if you like, a little bit more rustic, no problem with that. And if you've got some other favourite herbs, coriander, you can chuck them in there as well. And we've got some thyme leaves. Don't too much about the stalk on the thyme. As long as you're using the tips, they're always very soft. And there's no problem with eating those. Okay. And I'm going to get a good pinch of salt into there. And a good bit of pepper. And then this is the fun part. I like to get the kids involved in this part. Get them a bit hands-on, get them involved, and just work that meat into egg and breadcrumbs all together. So what the breadcrumbs in here, they're going to help keep the meatballs nice and moist. So when the meat proteins start to break down as you're cooking, the breadcrumbs will absorb all that juice, so you won't have a dry meatball. And what we're trying to do here is just make that meat a bit tighter. So there's ways you can do that. You can keep working it. You can pick it up, throw it a little bit. Throw a little bit against the side of the bowl there. That'll just make the meat a little bit more elastic. And then the meat, you can see, has started to really come together. It makes it really easy to roll our meatballs. So the meatballs, just about the size of a walnut. And at this stage, if you find it's a bit crumbly, falling apart, just put it back in and start working it a bit more, and it'll come back together. You can even bash it about in your hand a little bit. You know what? If you've got kids, you could like throw it around, a little mini food fight. That'd be a bit of fun. So into a nice hot pan, we've got some oil, and then we get our balls in there. Don't let the temperature drop too much, or your balls will start to stew. You don't want your balls to stew. They'll be pale. You want a nice golden colour on your balls. And again, I'm not shaking the pan too much. You'll lose the heat. So I'm individually turning each ball. Now, if you're doing this on the barbecue, it'd be perfect because you can't shake a barbecue. So this recipe in particular is very good. You can make koftas out of it. You can make balls out of it like we've made. You can turn it into burgers. So our balls have got a good bit of colour on them now, good bit of crunch on the outside. So I'm just going to take them out and we'll get on to making our pita. So we've got some hummus. Now you can make your own hummus or you can use the store-bought stuff. There's no harm in using the store-bought stuff. Some nice leaves. This is just a bit of a mix of rocket and basically a mesclun mix. We've got some grilled vegetables, which we did on the barbecue. So we've got some eggplant there, some capsicum, some zucchini, a little bit of onion. And we're going to finish this with our spicy meatballs. So up to you how many you jam in there. I reckon 4 is a good number for this one. And we've just fancied our balls up a little bit by wrapping them in some paper and a bit of string just to make them a bit easier to manage. And this would be fantastic served with a glass of Shiraz.